Are you sick of feeling like you've been ripped off by your major software providers for your dealership? In this episode, we're going to talk about how to be a savvy shopper for software for your dealership. Stay tuned to learn how.
Welcome to Down Payment, the podcast for used car dealers. Prepare to learn something new about the industry that keeps us moving.
Check out all our podcast content on our social media channels. We are at Down Payment Podcast on YouTube, Down Payment Podcast on Instagram, and Down Payment Pod on X. Welcome back to Down Payment. And in this episode, we've got an exciting episode about software because it is a pain point for so many dealers. And this is an episode based on a lot of experience that we had with our dealership having difficulty with software purchases and implementations and things going wrong. So learn from us and learn how to make your software buying experience better for your dealership. So our dealerships rely on a lot of software. We have dealer management systems or DMSs, and we have CRMs, customer relationship management software, and a whole host of other pieces of software, some of them big ticket, some of them small ticket. It might be a service writing program. It might be a collections management program. It might be auto dialer software. There's a lot of software that goes into a dealership. And the bigger and more sophisticated your operation, and certainly if you're a buy here, pay here dealership, you have a lot more sophisticated software demands. You need your software to be able to do more. They are very complicated products. And unfortunately, they are niche products. They are products that don't apply to other industries. They were built for our industry alone. And what it does is it produces a closed ecosystem of limited software vendors with limited competition amongst each other. Now, for most of this software is sold on a SaaS model. That is software as a service. So it's not like the old days where you would buy your software CDs and you purchase that software once and you load it on your computer, install it, and you're good to go for the life of the product. Now, most of the software is purchased on an ongoing subscription basis, including the major software for our industry. And most of it is cloud-based, and you are paying either monthly or annually for that software. Now, in this episode, I am not talking about the generic software that crosses multiple industries. I am not talking about Microsoft Office. I am not talking about QuickBooks. I'm not talking about accounting softwares that apply to a whole host of different industries. We're talking about industry-specific software. Now, where you can use generic software, I really encourage it. I did an episode about buying CRMs that are not specific to our industry and the advantages that come with that. But even when you use non-industry specific software as much as possible, there's still a lot of software specific to our industry that you need. Now, this is still a big ticket industry, and there is a lot of money and a lot of companies that pour a lot of investment into software for our niche industries. And one of the things that basically all of them do are delivering slick sales experiences. They attend our conferences, we see them demonstrate the software, and it always looks amazing. I basically have never seen a bad software demonstration in our industry. But the demonstrations are not necessarily good insights into the quality of that product, the ease of use, the ease of training it, and its reliability and uptime and the quality of support. So I want to deliver you some strategies and techniques that you can do during the software buying process so that you can understand better the limitations of that software. The sales experience, while it's very slick, they're telling you what you want to hear, and they are never going to be fully honest about the limitations and the problems that they're encountering with their product unless you ask very specific questions to gain insight as to what those are. One of the first things that I recommend, and a lot of dealers already do this, but ask for dealer references. You want to talk to another dealer that uses their product. But very specifically, I want a dealer reference in my market area, a dealer that I likely already know and have a relationship with and will hopefully be honest with me. Every software company has 3 or 4 dealer references across the country that they send dealers to talk about their software, because they know that it's all going to be sugar plums and fairy tales and it's going to be a great reference. But we actually want to dig deeper for that. And that's why I ask for a reference in my own market. I want to have a conversation with that dealer, and I want the good and the bad. And I want to also ask them, are there any other dealers you know that I can talk to for their experience with the product? So that dealer reference gives another reference. And that second reference is potentially going to be your most honest source because it's not curated by the software vendor themselves. The next thing to try is a test call to customer support. And I like doing this with the sales rep present. Let's call your customer support. I want to see how long it takes to get in. I'll make the call from my phone. Tell me what the customer support number that I will be using if I buy your product is going to be. And let's see how long that wait time is. Let's see how the queue handling works. Let's see if it's an easy process. I want to know if that customer support is US based or if it's offshore. If so, are we talking with people that have good command of the English language? Are we using a customer support center that is the lowest bidder and is going to be a rough experience for my employees that need customer support for this software product? I also want to know the company's merger and acquisition history. Is this a software product that is going through multiple companies that have bought and sold it and traded it off, or is this going to be a stable experience? I also want to ask about product history. Is this a product that with this name, this product has existed for 10 or 15 or 20 years? Or is this something that has came out recently? Is this something that is an evolution of different products that have been brought together? Or is this something that has had a lengthy history of use and upgrade over the course of time? I also want to ask to meet my implementation or project manager before I sign up for the product. Okay, I want to buy your product, but before I do that, I want to meet the person that would be responsible for being my point of contact during the implementation. One of the things about our software, especially for existing dealerships that have been around for a while, is we have a lot of legacy data that has to get implemented into the new software product, whether it's a DMS or a CRM. We have our legacy data that we want in the new product. And you're going to have potentially some very complicated data transition tasks. You're going to have potentially some accounting consequences depending on the type of software you're dealing with. You're going to have a project manager that you feel reliably you can work with and trust. You want to develop that relationship when everything is looking good at the sales end, because if you see indications that this is not a good fit, you can actually do something about it before you have signed on the dotted line. If you only meet this person after you've signed and committed to the product, you're kind of at their mercy. And we've had bad experiences on implementations before. You really want to have a relationship with someone that you trust. You want to be able to interview and agree that this is a good fit or look for someone else before you've signed on the dotted line. Also, ask for stuff like downtime statistics, any history of data intrusions, all of the negative stuff that they're not apt to share you unless you specifically ask for it. Ask for that during the sales process. Also, because it is so consequential to your business and could result in you having to notify your customers of a data breach, you want to ask for their security policies. You want to ask about intrusion history. You want to ask about security policies that your employees are going to be required to comply with, and also what their employees are obligated to provide. Now, in the end, it's important to understand there is no such thing as perfect software in this industry. There has been a lot of dramatic change and mergers and acquisitions and a lot of flux in the dealer software industry. Our goal isn't a perfect software purchase, but rather an informed one. I want to know my problems that I'm going to be dealing with up front. And if I can make that informed purchase, I'm better able to deal with the negative issues and the drawbacks ahead of time instead of being caught off guard and having a really rough software transition unexpectedly. Those are the worst, and they really pull you away from being able to sell cars and fulfill your core mission as a dealer. With that, I hope this avoids some problems with your next software purchase. Now go sell some cars. It's been another episode of Down Payment. Check out our podcast on all our social media channels. We are at Down Payment Podcast on YouTube, Down Payment Podcast on Instagram, and Down Payment Pod on X.
Thank you for listening. Down Payment, the podcast for used car dealers, is a production of Meta Financial Services Incorporated.